Hello, this is Jamie Magrich. Welcome to Jamie's Craft Table. Today I'm going to show you how I made this card. It's a pretty simple one. Okay, I'm using the Mountain Air. Just using this stamp. And I'm using the Hello from Forever Fern. You can use any sentiment you want, but get that back out. Okay, for consumables, I have a piece of Whisper White, which is 4 by 5 1/4, a piece of black, which is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, my thick, which is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored and folded at 4 1/4. I have a scrap of Whisper White, which I've torn into it's basically a 2 by 3 inch square, or rectangle. Doesn't have to be exact. Okay, we're going to do a smooshing technique, a little bit different than we did the last time. This time we're going to use reinkers, and I'm going to use Old Olive, Night of Navy, and Bermuda Bay. So basically I have a little piece of acetate. I might use a little bit of Pacific Point too. I'm just gonna squeeze just a little bit, well, of this is the Old Olive, then a little bit of Night of Navy. It's like one drop and I'm just spreading it out. Then Bermuda Bay for the top. It's a little more than I wanted. Okay, then I've got a aqua painter and a little bowl of rubbing alcohol. And we're going to spread this out. I've got a rag here. It doesn't really matter if you change in between colors because it's, ooh, that is thick. It's an older refill because it's really thick. Okay, you can spritz it if you want, like I did on the other one. That works too. Okay, we want to spread this out as best we can. It looks really dark. Okay. Now we're going to bring in the spritzer, and I'm just going to spritz my paper one little, just to wet it. Like 3 little. And I'm going to turn it over onto this. And I'm going to push it into the. It's a little bit dark, so I'm going to come in with my paintbrush and I'm going to pick up some more of this color. I'm going to spread it around a little more. Put some more alcohol on my mat here. And let's make sure it's right side up, but we're going to stick it in there again. It is going to dry lighter. It looks horribly dark now, but when you go to dry it, it lightens up quite a lot. You can just scribble it on there as well. Basically, that's how I did my first background. Okay, then I'm going to dry it. and we'll come back and more here. That's pretty. Have to figure out something to do with that. Okay, so, and then we're going to bring in the embossing powder. I'm going to get this out of the way so I don't spill it. And emboss the edges like we did on the last card. And I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. This one's a little bit darker than I'd like it. This top is a lot darker than I'd like, but we're going to go ahead and go with it. See if it works. If not, I'll do another one and then I'll come back. Okay, so I'm going to bring in this one. And this is the correct side with all the detail in it. And the Memento black ink pad. Ink this up well. And we're going to stamp across it. Down in the bottom third of it. It doesn't really matter where. You're just going to pick a spot and stamp. Make sure you get a good impression. This one will look more night-like, I think. It's very dark, but... Okay, then we're going to bring in our white piece of paper. We're going to stamp that across it as well. There it is. This one, we're going to stamp across this top, like about there. That one goes all the way across the whole front of the card. You don't want to press too hard because you don't want to squish the impression, but you want it to transfer. And then move it without re-inking. Stamp it again, and then one more time. I'm going to move it up and over just the tiniest little bit. Okay. Close up the Memento. Oh, no, we need to stamp the sentiment. That's going to go up here in this corner. Somewhat straight on my stamp. Stamp that up here. Perfect. Awesome. Alright, this is going to get mounted to our black piece, but first I want to add a ribbon to it. And this is not Stampin' Up! Ribbon. I didn't have any black, so I just using what I have, and I'm going to put this about here. Snips. I've got some regular household tape. I'm just going to tape it across the back here. Looks good. Okay, then I'm going to make a bow that will glue on with a glue dot. Alright, now this can get glued onto the pieces of black. I'll just use my tumble. There's a very tiny little border. Okay, Okay, and then this can get adhered to the front of our card. Again, there's just going to be a tiniest little border. Okay, set that aside. Now we're going to bring in our piece. Now I can use this piece that we did. I can use this one that I did, this leftover from another project. Let me stamp that trees across it, and then we'll figure out which one we want to use. And this is the one where I used the stamp and stamped the different layers and then saturated it with the alcohol. Make this a little bit better. I'm pretty sure I did, yeah, I just did one layer of trees on it. Oh, that's much better. And let me show you on this other one how to do the outline in case you missed the last video, or the gold edge. This is Versamark ink. I have gold embossing powder and a coffee filter just because it's easier to put back. And I'm just going to either rub the card onto the edge or rub the ink pad onto the card. It's highly pigmented. It is going to add a little bit of color to your pad, but it usually doesn't hurt anything. Unless you're embossing with clear, then you might want to keep a separate pad for clear. Okay, so I got ink around the edges. Put the gold on it. Wipe it off. And where you have it where you don't want it, either use your finger or a clean paintbrush and wipe it off. Just making sure I got a good coverage on the edge. Okay. Let's move this out of the way so I don't blow it all over. Put the cover back on this. Bring in my heat tool. Bring in my cutting board. I find this helps to protect my work surface, and it displaces the heat a little bit more evenly. I'm not quite sure why it works, but it does. Hopefully you can see that changing. Changes from the powder and melts it into that gold finish. Okay, so that's what we ended up with. It's pretty. I kind of like that other one better, so let's see. Well, that's not bad. Let's go ahead and use it then. This one's just brighter. Whoops. I don't know where that came from. See how much brighter that one is? I'll just have to make another card. Okay, so I'm going to come in with my dimensionals for the back of this, and I'm just going to use these pieces with this edge. Alright, take those backings off. And this is going to go right about here. You don't want to cover up your trees. I guess you could. You could put it up here if you wanted. Just put it down here. There we go. There's a card we just made together. Here's the one I did previously. You see the colors lined up a little bit differently. Not quite as dark. Each one's going to be different. Here's the, if I use this one, this would work too. I really like that one. Well, thank you for joining me at Jamie's Craft Table. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope you can find a little bit of time to play with some stamps, ink, and paper. I just realized I forgot to add the ribbon. So let's add that ribbon with the glue dot. Just take our bow, stick it on the glue dot, and stick it where we want it on the card. There we go. Thank you. Have a great day.